a lot of people don't realize it because the book is so hard to understand. Because it says in all navigable waterways must have an OUPV license or merchant mariner's license. Okay, with that being said, when you get into the federal guidelines, it says any for hire captain, and it goes on in parentheses to say tips, fuel, blah, 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 must have an OUPV six-pack license. There's a lot of companies out there that are going to charge $250, $300 for a fishing trip, but here's what a lot of people don't understand. If they get hurt on that boat, then it turns into a whole nother process. If their medical bills aren't covered.
All right, we got Fat Bass Podcast coming at you, where we're looking at turning $25 into $500 just by fishing the same tournaments that you're currently fishing. Weighing that big fish for, or that fat bass for your chance at $500 competing against the rest of the Ozarks. So we're excited. I mean, we got a few pretty good submissions over the weekend, and
yeah, we got some fat bass coming in. So
yeah. So excited for that. But today we've got Josh Isaacs here
with the Branson Full Throttle Fishing Adventures.
Man, how'd you come up with that name, Josh?
There's a little bit of mix of the whole family. My wife's always said that I go nonstop when it comes to fishing, so I said, yeah, I'm always on full throttle. And they threw the Branson in there, because it's a great acronym to get viewers and stuff like that. And I offer everything, man. I bass fish, trout fish, crappie fish, you name it. We'll go after it. Stripers, walleye. You can watch my Facebook page and you'll see that we catch a little bit of everything. So they said, well, we might as well put fishing adventures in there.
Huh. You didn't do this all the time, right? Because I mean, I kind of knew you a little bit from the scoreboard days. So
yes.
What's your past?
So, for a long, long time, I've been an electrician. And me and my partner, we tournament fished everywhere for a long time, and used to have a lot of fun. Then I wasn't ever supposed to have kids, and here come a son come along, and when it come to 4th, 5th grade, and we started him in the middle school stuff. Me and him have kind of partnered up. Me and my other partner, we still fish some together. I don't have the time that I used to fish, as far as tournament fishing, but me and my son still fishing tournaments. He fishes tournaments with him and my partner both. We switch off depending on the tournament, what we're fishing, and who I fish with, and we've just had a really good time.
Good. And you do this full time now, the guiding, right?
Yeah, I do it 7 days a week. I run on an average anywhere from 6 or 7 trips a week to 12, 13 trips a week. So,
and what's included in the guide service? So somebody coming down from New York, man, I'm gonna get with Josh. He's the man. What can they expect?
So if you come down to go fishing with me, I furnish all rods, reels, tackle, fuel. I even put cold waters in the boat for everybody to drink, so they have something to drink while we're out there. We do water, like I say, all equipment, the boat. Everything's furnished. The only thing you have to do is show up. If you want snacks, bring you a snack and get your fishing license.
Now, what if I show up in Daisy Duke shorts, a wife beater? I mean, you going to give me a...
These are the good questions I
got to know this, because sometimes I get out in left field sometimes. And
well, you're probably not going to get a discount. It might go up a little bit, but you're probably not going to get much of a discount.
Well, Josh is a pretty good fisherman. I still got a story of I had that old ruggedy nitro with the 150 on it. I don't remember all of it, but I remember talking to you about bass tournament or something, and I said my prop was bad or I couldn't get up on plane. My old boat, I had to have all the guys on the front deck, jump up and down. And you gave me a prop, so kind of tells you the man, Josh. He goes, try this one. I said, I don't even know if I ever gave it back to you. I don't think I did. But now you're probably like, wait a minute.
No, I don't think so. It don't matter. I mean, it was a spare prop laying around, and it wasn't about the money. It was about getting a man back on the water. So
yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, I still remember that to today. And I think that I was at what school did you used to work at down?
So I done all the lighting and scoreboards, all that stuff in the Bradleyville High School.
Bradleyville, that's where it was.
I guess
that's
it wasn't
where I
just
met
the high
you.
school. It was K through 12.
Yeah.
It's not a great big school.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where it all. And I remember talking to you about fishing or something. Said, "Hey, my boat's down." He's like, "Oh, hold on here, take this prop." So
Dang, man.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's coming in clutch for a fellow fisherman. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I lived about 3 miles from the school, and I think that day we were working on that outside digital sign, and I ran up to the
yeah,
house real quick and grabbed you a prop.
yeah, yeah. Was you guiding at that time? I mean, that was like 18 years ago.
No, I wasn't. I
15.
wasn't a full time guide or nothing at that time. I had taken some people out on fishing trips and stuff. Back when I first started, I didn't know that we were a navigable waterway, and I didn't know that by federal law, if you take money, I don't care if it's a navigable waterway or not. There's always a huge argument about being a guide and having an OUPV, Coast Guard approved license and all that stuff. People are saying, well, we're not a navigable waterway. We don't have to have it. Any for hire service on the water, you must have a U.S. Coast Guard merchant mariner's license at bare minimum a 6-pack OUPV. And people still argue to this day, no, we're not navigable waterway. It doesn't matter. You're for hire. And if you go back into that's been several years back. If you go back into the day and look at Tiki 1, Tiki 2 on Lake of the Ozarks, I believe it was $50,000 or $60,000 fine they got for not having a merchant mariner's license. Well,
Wow.
I was still stuck in the old ways. I didn't know you had to have that stuff. Well, the more you dig into it, and then my cousin down south, he's actually just started a new merchant mariner school for deckhands and barge drivers and captains like myself. He started a school, and the more you dig into it, yeah, it's your first offense was huge. Like, you couldn't even get commercial license without it. If there was a wreck or somebody got hurt in the boat, it comes back to a civil suit. Then they can take your house, they can take everything. You're reliable for that. Now, the older I got, the more I dug into it, stuff like that. I realized, oh man, you got to have an OUPV, merchant mariner's license. You have to have commercial license. You have to have CPR training, a TWIC card. I mean, I have to have physical. I got to be on a random drug test. I mean, there's a lot to it. It's not just go out there and take somebody fishing and teach them how to catch fish. There's a lot of license you got to keep up with, insurance, lots of money and fuel right now. But it's just crazy. As a youngster growing up around dad and everybody, we took people fishing if they wanted to pay for gas. If the Coast Guard wanted to get technical with you, you can't even take money for gas, like taking a non-boater on a tournament. If they wanted to really get technical, you can't take a tip of any sort. So
Wow. So what does it take to get through that class? Like is it online? You gotta go drive a boat out in the lake, like a card license, like a driver's license.
Yeah.
of course, if you're born in 1984 and after, you got to have a boater's license. That's a given. But in order to become a merchant mariner, have a 6-pack OUPV, you have to go to a 7-day school. And in that schooling, like I went to Bayou La Battery down in Alabama. A lot of people go up to Maritime Marine up in Lake of the Ozarks. I think they do a December class or something like that. But in order to do that, you have to learn all the buoys, the lights, the sounds, everything of every ship in the ocean. You got to do what they call a set and drift. It's you set a map out and you use a compass and a ruler and all this stuff. And you got to know the currents. And like if you start at the tip of Florida and you're going to Mexico, you got to know what the currents are. And if you break, how much you're going to be off course at this many knots by the time you land. There's a lot to it. I think if I remember right, Joe, it's been a while. Don't hold me to this number, but I believe it's 160 questions and you can miss 12 if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Holy crap.
So,
No kidding.
yeah, so you've really got to sit down and study. You got to tune everybody out for 7 days. Man, can you tell me what every buoy is in that ocean?
No.
I mean,
Not a shot, man.
half of us haven't even seen them, let alone know what they are, and then you got to know, like if you see red over green, that's a sailing machine, green over red or whatever's a fishing machine. You got to know all them lights, and that's for barges, that's for tankers, that's for, you name it. You got to know all that stuff, and you got to pass that test. And then you have to have so many hours, like me, I'm legal to take up to 6 passengers plus my crew. I cannot take 7, otherwise I am out of the federal regulation. So you have to know, there's just so much you have to know for it. And you have to keep your CPR up to date. You have to keep your TWIC up to date. You have to keep physicals up to date. And like say, you're on a random drug test at all times. A speeding ticket has to be recorded to the Coast Guard immediately. Any kind of ticket you get has to be reported immediately. Altercations, any kind of altercations, you could be on a 6-month suspension of your guide license. I mean, you got to walk the straight and narrow.
Do you have to have a certain boat length? Like, I mean, I'm sure you do if you take 1 passenger or 2, but can I go out there in a 12-foot John boat? And if I pass the test and all that, is there restrictions of that nature?
So what happens is, like for instance, my 221 champion is rated for 7 people up to 1,100 pounds. I become a commercial vessel at that point. The rating plate is still in play for state laws, but not federal laws, if that makes sense to you. The same way with a child in his life jacket. You know, what is it in Missouri? 14 and under have to wear, or 12 and under have to wear them in Missouri, or whatever the age limit is in Missouri. I've got it all right here in my book, but I can't never remember it off the top of my head. But the age limit for federal law and state law is 2 different things. So if state checks you, you're okay, but if feds check you, it's going to be a different deal.
Is that a water patrol person on the state level?
Yeah, that's state level's water patrol, and federal level will be somebody from the Coast Guard.
Oh, okay.
I do a
Probably
Coast
don't
Guard.
see them too often around here.
Lake of the Ozarks and up in there, you see them quite a bit. Down here, you don't see them as much. I do the Coast Guard auxiliary. I have them inspect my boat once a year. My fire extinguishers, I carry a Coast Guard auxiliary inspection sticker on my boat. So if I do ever get boarded, they know when it's passed and all that. So then at that point, the only thing they do is check my life jackets. I don't have to go through the 2,000 point check, it seems like. You know, they dig for paperwork and all that. So I have the auxiliary. Which is over in Kimberling City. I have Coast Guard auxiliary inspect my boat once a year. So that kind of keeps
way more in depth than I thought.
Yeah.
You know, and I guarantee not everybody out there has all of these things.
Do you think that, I mean, a lot of guides, and obviously not naming names, but I mean, do you think a lot of guides around here don't have all those certifications and all that kind of stuff?
So there is a bunch of, we call them fly-by-night guides, and you know, everybody's trying to feed their family, so I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, anything like that. A lot of people don't realize it because the book is so hard to understand, because it says in all navigable waterways must have an OUPV license or merchant mariner's license. Okay, with that being said, when you get into the federal guidelines, it says any for-hire captain, and it goes on in parentheses to say tips, fuel, blah, 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 must have an OUPV 6-pack license. There's a lot of companies out there that are going to charge $250, $300 for a fishing trip, but here's what a lot of people don't understand. If they get hurt on that boat, then it turns into a whole nother process. If their medical bills aren't covered, because you can't have commercial insurance without proof of your merchant mariner's license. So if Joe takes somebody out there and tells them he can show them how to catch bass and all that, well, for one, they're going to think he's lying. And for two, if somebody was to get hurt, first thing they're going to do is tell Joe's insurance, hey, we paid him to take us fishing. And then there goes Joe's boat, Joe's truck, Joe's house, Joe's everything, unless he can pay them out of pocket.
Dang.
So
that's spooky. That's spooky if a lot of guys are just dancing on that line, you know.
I mean, I get it. I mean, you say, hey, I want to go make a living fishing, and
I don't want to pay. I mean, what's it cost for the class, you know?
By the time you're all said and done, you're about $2,700.
So, I mean, pretty good investment with zero coming in.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, it's I think you got $125 for a physical, $125 for CPR, $75 for a TWIC card. You got $1,800 for the course, and then you got to do your license fees. You got to send all that. You got to get all your your marine time in, like on a boat, you have to be able to log all that, your registrations from all the boats you've owned and all that to prove your time on the water. And by the time you all send it in, you're looking at a 6-month turnaround to get it. Mine's up for renewal right now. And I'm fixing to do my physical next week. Just had to do my CPR, and then I got to fill out all my time for the last 5 years of being on the water. Well, that's really hard to do and it's got to be over 4 hours a day. Otherwise it doesn't count as a full day on the water. So, it's a tough deal. It really is. Actually, it's 5 hours, I believe, but it's a tough deal, and you got to stay on top of it, because if you don't, man, and something's happened, you're in trouble. It's just not worth it. It's kind of like driving without a driver's license.
Yeah, well, yeah. It takes one guy to screw it up for everybody, and then all of you guys are getting checked, and Yep, I can hear you.
I don't know. It paused.
Can you
For
hear
some
me?
reason, went back to a countdown. Are you there?
It did that before.
Yeah, I did that the other day with another guy, but
I think it's just recording, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's doing it, but
Like say it. It's crazy.
yeah. What you got a favorite lake? Like, if you had to just pick, is it Bull Shoals, Table Rock, Taneycomo? You like, I really like Table Rock because it's got everything, and we catch them all the time. Or what's your opinion?
I love Table Rock. I was born and raised on Virgin Bluff up by Cape Fair, and I love Table Rock, but my overall choice is Bull Shoals. Like, once you figure Bull Shoals out, there's no lake in the state of Missouri that fishes like Bull Shoals.
The abundance of fish, like on a guide level, I guess, is it the abundance of fish that a customer can catch? Is that why?
It's not necessarily an abundance. It's the multi-species that I have to choose from, and I get to fish what I call a tidal area, which is a river system, or I can fish a big open water system. It's just awesome because you can do the striper, the walleye, smallmouth Kentuckies, largemouth, white bass, crappie. You can do it all right there and not have near the boat traffic or anything that I've got on Table Rock, even though Table Rock's been my home lake. That's my baby.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you've done pretty good with the high school kids and all that on a lot of the events. You guys are always, you and your boy, or your boy and his partner or whatever, who's always up at the top. Keegan's always wanting to beat you, and, yep. I call Josh, and he gives me the spot way over on the other end of the lake that ain't catching any fish, and then he comes in with like 30 pounds, but no.
Man, I tell you what.
I wouldn't give Joe a single thing, man.
I give him something a while back, but he didn't run with it. He just putted around with it. I don't know what his deal was.
Yeah, because I thought it was reverse psychology. I said, well, Josh tell me go here, so I'm going to go over here.
How'd that work out for you?
It didn't work out very good. No.
A guy that gives you a prop.
Hey, we did catch fish in those areas, and especially the practice day, we caught quite a few in the areas that he told me.
And then you just decided not to go there.
No, we went there tournament day, but they moved, and we couldn't adjust.
We've had a blast tournament fishing over the years. Me and my partner Shane Plummer, we've won a lot of money over the years. We done a deal. We done the Ultimate Challenge tournament on Table Rock this year for champion boat owners, Bass Cat, Icon, stuff like that. We were sitting in 49th place on day one. We had our heads bummed. We lost an ungodly amount of fish the first day. I could not boat a fish. I mean, you couldn't have thrown it at me and made it land in the boat. I was sick to my stomach. And I told him we were down by Kimberling City where takeoff was at. And I told him, I said, in the morning, get in the boat, put your life jacket on, and hang on. I said, we're going to make a run. I said, we're going to come back out of this deal. And we ran way up the James River, plumb past Walnut Springs. I mean, as hard as I could go. So in that, it's reverse flight. If you're the first boat out on day one, you're the last boat out on day two. And I think we were boat 5 on day one, so that put us close to last. And I thought, man, it's going to be tight. It's a 50-minute run up there as hard as I can run, And we run up there and we shut down on a little old bank. And I never even got the trolling motor in the water hardly. I mean, I made a throw and I told Shane, I said, get the net. It's a good fish. And it was like a 3-pounder. And it was the very first throw, and I thought, oh, my gosh, I didn't just do that on the first throw, because usually if you catch a good one on the first throw, it's over with. And I don't know, I was messing with aerators, I don't know, hydro or something. Anyway, Shane, he said, get the net, it's a big one. Well, it was one a little over 5. Well, I got back there and I fin clipped it and put it on the tall bowl and put it in the live well. And he said, "Get the net. I got another good one." We made about 150-yard stretch right there. And I believe I'd have to look back at the results, but I believe it was 17 pounds we had in the first 30 minutes of the tournament.
Dang, oh my.
Yeah, and I throwed up there and I told Shane, I said, "Get the net this a hog." And I lost one. I don't know, he was 6+, and he was a monster. And we come all the way from 49th to, I believe it was 7th or 8th place. And just making a quick adjustment. And I mean, them fish were still there that we had the day before, but we couldn't, what we were doing that day, we couldn't put them in the boat, and they were just getting rid of the bait. Everything was hanging out the side of their mouth or, skin hooked or something crazy. And every time they'd waller, they'd get rid of the bait. We made a big comeback and we brought home big bass trophy, some new power poles, and I think about $1,800. So we done pretty good for being sitting in the half of the way in the pack on day one.
If you caught all them, if you caught them the first day, you think you'd have won? I mean, did you have the fish there to win?
Yeah, we'd have had over 20 pounds on day one. Yeah, we had
God.
we had it in the bag on day one. Like I say, just everything you did everything you touched was just, I don't know. It was just one of them days. No matter how hard you fish, and no matter how good you were on the fish, you just couldn't boat them. You couldn't keep them buckled. I think we only come in with a limit, but it was just a small limit on day one where we'd have had over 20 on day one. It was crazy to make a comeback like that. I mean,
yeah, we see it says it's not recording.
Yep, there it goes.
Now it looks like we're back.
To do something like that on day one, man, it was hard to go home and sleep and get adjusted and get your mind back right to come back on day two and do what we did. Me and him's done that several different times. We pulled up in a tournament down there on Bull Shoals one day, and we pulled up and he put the trolling motor down and I made a throw, and I told him, I said, "Get the net, it's a big one." And he said, "I can't, I've got a big one." We throwed 6 times. We throwed 6 times on one point and had just shy of 26 pounds. In the first, we were within sight of takeoff. And it was unbelievable. It was one of them days you dream of. So we hang around the dock, pretty much. We don't want to go nowhere. We're like, man, we don't want to lose a fish, so we're going to hang around close. We're not going to beat them up by running around the lake. And we got bored of waiting around. And I told him, I said, "Let's run down here, this spot, and try to see if we can catch one." And well, we were turning 3-pounders loose, just one right after another. And we come up right there before the tournament was over, and we had a little spot right there by the dock we wanted to try. And he said, "I got a good one." I said, "Do you need a net?" He said, "No, it ain't going to help us any." And that thing come up beside the boat, throwed a jig over the boat. It was probably an 8-pounder, and we had almost 26 pounds as it was, and we throwed an 8-pounder right. I mean, it throwed that jig and went down. It still haunts him to this day because we had a chance of maybe putting together a 30 rack.
Yeah, dirty 30. Yeah.
Dirty 30.
Holy smoke. Do you fish a tournament circuit now, like consistently, or just jump in some things?
So I will, right now springtime, so it's super, super busy. We're busy in the summer too, but I will start, I believe it is June 6th, I believe, is my first one. We will fish a series, me and my son. It's actually on Table Rock. It's the old 86 tournament. You guys ought to look it up on Facebook. Usually around 50 boats, 60, something like that. We actually won the Table Rock champions last year, me and my son. We won the fish off by like 7 pounds or something. Is
that a night tournament or is it a?
Yeah, so it's a night tournament. That one is. Man, there's a lot of good ones right here. Like we had a big one here on Bull Shoals last weekend. I couldn't fish it. I was strapped down with guide trips, and it really stinks because I used to hit everything I could hit, and I don't have the free time to fish like I used to.
Yeah.
But we fish a lot of stuff, in the National Youth Fishing Association. My son he never missed a championship from 5th grade all the way to his senior year. And then on his senior year in the PTA event, 120, 30 boats, whatever it is, we took, I believe it was second team of the year. We missed first team of the year. We were second or third. It was so tight, we missed it by less than a half a pound. and he lost one that day that probably weighed 4. So we've done a lot.
You go ahead.
Got a lot of trophies, stuff downstairs. I mean, we've won a lot of stuff.
I mean, what's your thoughts on the forward-facing sonar? Are you catching a lot on that? I mean, you'll use it if it's there. You don't if it's not.
You know, Joe, here's my deal with forward-facing sonar, and I hate to even get into it with a lot of people because a lot of people think it's a cheater box. I hear it all the time. If you don't know how to catch them, it doesn't. I don't care if you see them out there on top and you're the guy that throws a jig in them. You're not going to catch them. You know, if you don't know how to catch them fish, yes, the guys that can catch fish or have been catching fish before the forward-facing sonar. Oh yeah, it's a huge deal for them. But man, you got to learn how to catch them on forward-facing sonar. You don't just throw at them and say, "Well, there they are, I caught them." They don't just run into the boat for you. There's a lot of skill into using forward-facing sonar. There is a lot of fish that we never would have thought would have existed. You know, you take somebody good on it, like Wyatt Marler. He gets out there and does some of the stuff he does with it. Kudos. Congratulations to him. He has took the time to learn it and he's got good on it. A lot of the guys don't want to take the time to spend to do it. And they'll go out there fishing every day and they'll complain about it, but they don't want to take the time to learn it. Technology is technology. It don't matter if it's a flip phone versus an iPhone. It don't matter. You got to take time to learn it if you want it. And I don't see, it's harder to beat a lot of people than what it used to be with traditional fishing. But here's the deal. It's available for everybody. If you work hard enough, you can achieve anything and you can have anything, and kudos to these guys. Wyatt Marler, Nick Lawler, Landon Edwards, Easton Pendergrass, them guys. Congratulations to them. They have went out, they have learned it, they have figured it out, and they are making it rough. But you know what, Joe? If I was tournament fishing, it's right here all the time. It's right here on the front of my boat. I wouldn't be a lazy guy and not go out there and figure it out. Because if you're going to compete with a lot of these boys right now, you better figure it out or you're going to get left behind.
Are you seeing it pretty easy with your boy and his partner and any of the high school kids? Can they pick it up pretty easy, or is it the same thing? Hey, if you don't put in the time, even them, if they don't put in the time, they ain't going to catch them. What are you seeing from their aspect?
These kids can pick it up really, really fast, but a lot of the younger generation was born with a lot more technology than a lot of the older guys. But deciphering, knowing what your fish are is the big thing. Like learning a smallmouth versus Kentucky versus largemouth, learning what part of the water column they're in, that kind of thing. That takes some time to learn. Young generation's figuring it out. They're really good on it. But you take these young guns like Wyatt Marler, my son, even all that have fished before and knew the traditional fishing. And now they've learned forward-facing sonar. That's what makes these boys dangerous. Like I say, it's kudos. My hat's off to them for learning it and figuring it out because it's the real deal and it's not going away. People say, oh, they're going to ban it. It's not going away. There's too much money in it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, do you use it on guide trips? Because I've learned if I take Pierce out and it's really hard to do it to people. Like you can, but it's not as easy.
So I'll tell you what it really helps me on guide trips, and I'll admit it to everybody. Used to, I'd go fish, like crappie fishing, I'd go fish a brush pile for 30 minutes trying to find some big ones in it, or this area to see if them fish were there. We'd fish it for an hour. It has not really saved people money, but their time is valuable to me because they're paying me for their time. And it has saved me from using a lot of their time, from wasting a lot of their time to no more wasting time. We pull up there, we look, them fish ain't there, we go to the next one. And we just, I may cover, like the other day, I had to cover 20 brush piles before I found the big fish. They had left overnight, and it took me a couple hours to find the big ones where, used to it may have took me, I may have been on the water for 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And we're not just
some people. Go ahead.
We're not just targeting big fish. That's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of our big fish, we turn loose, and if they want a mess to eat, we'll keep an 11-inch crappie or 12-inch crappie or something like that. We don't always keep the great big ones. Yeah, we keep one or two here and there for pictures, stuff like that. But if you look, most crappie on all the guide pages are pretty close to the same because the guys are learning how to limit to what to keep them and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Are some of the people that you're using live scope on a guide trip, are they like, well, I've never seen that before? Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah, so we sell Garmin's right here. I install them, all that stuff, and I get a ton of trips that people has never seen it. They want to come learn it, and then they end up buying it, and I end up installing it, and away they go. And it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I can make money off a guide trip, and I can make money off of installation and selling them a unit.
But going back, was you nervous like the first time you did a guide trip? Like, you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the fish. Like, I don't know if I'm going to give them their money's worth.
I'll be honest with you, Joe. It's probably one of the most stressful jobs I've ever had, especially when you get a weather pattern like we've had this year. Man, I was born and raised on these lakes. I know where these fish are 90% of the time, and a lot of these lakes don't change from year to year as far as where the fish are at. Guide trips, I'm not looking for monsters all the time. I'm just looking for them to catch fish. Yeah, when I first started, I was in panic mode, man. I thought, here we go. I know how to catch them, but I don't know that they can catch them. And it took me a couple years to really figure out, hey, settle down. We go out there and have a 10 fish day or 12 fish day, and you freak out about it. And to me, that was a super slow day. To some people, that's the best thing in the world because they've never caught over one fish.
Yeah, true.
So you have to take yourself out of the guide mode and put it into the customer mode. And when you learn your customer the first 20 minutes you're in the boat and you realize that they've never caught a fish or they've only caught one or two fish, they've been fishing 100 times and they've caught 5 fish. Well, you go out there and have a 10 fish day. They've had an unbelievable day. So you gotta learn your customer, and when you figure your customer out, man, you've got it pretty well made. But you still stress from day to day. I stay on the crappie big time, and the other day I went out. The day before, we just absolutely hammered the big fish, and went out the next day, and we could not find a big fish. That's the day I told you it took me 2 hours to finally find some big fish, and I just literally left them spots 12 hours before, and they were gone. An 8 or 9 mile run to find some keeper fish.
That's a mess.
That it's crazy.
Yeah. When they, just thinking, not keeping the giants and this and that a lot of times. What do you think about the 12-inch rule change on Table Rock?
I think it's going to help our largemouth and stuff, because spots, Kentuckys, whatever you want to call them, they're aggressive. They can take over a school of shad pretty quick, push other fish out. I'm not sure that I like it, and I'm not sure that I hate it. I'm kind of undecisive on it. Because Table Rock's got a lot of good fish in it. Even spots, you can catch a pretty good bag of fish just on spots. I don't know. I think it's going to open it up to a lot of fish being eaten, and I think we're going to see our quality of spots go down, and I think we'll see our quality of the largemouth come back up, and we'll see some of our smallmouth stuff coming up. How long is that going to take? Are we going to pretty much deplete the spots out before that comes up, or what's going to happen here? I'm not sure. I'm undecided on that whole ordeal.
Is Bull Shoals 12 inches?
Bull Shoals is 12 inches.
Yeah. So you got your Lako, Bull Shoals, Tommy's 13 all across the board.
Yeah.
Grand is 12 inches.
What's Truman?
I don't know what
I think Truman's 12 inches.
Start to say, isn't it 12?
Yeah.
I think
it is. You're right. Yep.
I believe their crappie and spots and everything kind of run the same as Lake of the Ozarks. I believe. But, guys, we catch some good quality Kentuckys in Bull Shoals, but man, pound per pound, them fish over at Table Rock are just unbelievable. I don't know what to honestly say about it. It's one of them deals, danged if we do, danged if we don't. I hear a lot of people saying the forward-facing sonar is hurting our fish. I don't so much believe it's forward-facing sonar as what I do as it is tournament pressure.
Yeah, I agree. Because I don't think those guys that are doing the forward-facing sonar are keeping a bunch of them. I don't believe one guy goes spend 10 grand on electronics and goes, I'm just gonna keep every bass I catch. Like I think it's more of your competitive tournaments, your guides. I just don't think I think the people that catch them and eat them aren't your typical competitive bass guy. Johnny with the John boat that goes, I like bass, I like a few, and
Yeah, I would say most of the tournament guys probably aren't eating fish.
yeah, so I
mean, it's kind of like a cardinal sin if you eat, if you eat bass and, there's a tournament going on.
Even for the guides, most of the guides don't keep largemouth and smallmouth. If you will watch, most of them keep spots. Or it is down this way. Yeah, I mean, there's a largemouth in there once in a while. There's a smallmouth in there once in a while because it's died or something like that. It's not going to get wasted. But if you will watch most of your pictures, you will never see a lot of guides. You won't see just a whole stringer full of largemouth getting filleted. If you'll watch on the fillet tables, you'll see Kentuckies. Like I say, yes, once in a while you're going to see a largemouth because he's died. We pulled him up out of deep water, or you're going to see a smallmouth. He swallowed a bait, or something like that. But you're not seeing me have a 4-person trip and go out there and I've got 24 largemouth laying on the front, on the fillet table. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And you can go through about every guide you can look at, and you'll. I don't know that you can find a guide down here in this area that'll have a 3-person trip and have 18 largemouth laying on the fillet table. I don't know that you can find that. Yeah.
Right, probably.
The spots, the colder water spots are known for what people call great eating, But I think pressure, guys. I mean, we've got tournaments going on, and I love fishing tournaments. Don't get me wrong. I love competitives, but you've got tournaments every single day of the week. And, we had some big stuff going on in the pre-spawn. You had red crest, you had, all that stuff was right there around the spawn, pre-spawn. I mean, you go to taking, what do you think's on Table Rock each week? How many boats a week do you think's on Table Rock?
We go through the regattas just to see the big bass.
It's huge.
It's 2 pages long.
Yeah, there's 1,000 boats on there in a week's time.
Yeah.
And there's just tournament.
That's just
the
tournament.
Ones that we
that's
can
not
see
counting
even.
Pleasure fishermen or nothing. I mean, that's just tournament. And
right.
I think that's I think that hurts us a lot, especially in that pre-spawn spawn era. You've got that many boats on the water. Man, it's putting a hurting on them fish trying to bed. Look at that Bassmaster Tuesday nighter. I mean, Benton and them boys were trying to catch them off. That's how they wanted catching them off the bed.
Yeah, that was a cool tournament. That was a cool tournament.
That's interesting.
It is.
Did they throw them back, or did they bring them in to weigh them?
They brought them in and weighed them, and then turned them loose. But
They did.
them fish weighed in at Mill Creek, and they might have been caught down there by the Kimberling Bridge or whatever. Them fish ain't gonna make it back to their bed.
Yeah. Well, this how I talked to Pierce about the moving the fish around. It's kind of like me. You take me, if I was single, you take me out of these ladies over here and put me with these ladies over here. Hey, I might like it. I might like these ladies a little bit better. So that's how my mind works. Same thing with spawning fish. He goes, hey, I'm done with this group of ladies over here. Put him in some, these are a little bit better looking.
He could be. A little bit younger.
A little bit younger. They might be a little dirtier in the river, and you bring them to the clean water. They're like, man, these women are nice and clean.
Smell
That's
nice.
just my theory on the moving the fish.
Do you think that female will go up and make her another bed, or do you think she'll move on to another bed, or do you think she's done after she's been cut off a bed and moved?
I bet she makes another bed.
I don't
bet
know.
she's a
She probably,
promiscuous.
Yeah, she probably
bass.
spreads her fins a little bit more than most.
I've always wondered, you read stories, but I've never seen anything proven that that fish goes and makes another bed, or does she spawn out in deep water? Does she spawn, or is she too stressed to spawn? You stress a woman, she can have a miscarriage. Do the bass do the same thing?
That's an interesting point.
I wonder. Well, we're going to have a conservation guy next month. That's a very good question if he knows anything, or a biologist, fish biologist. So that's a question we'll ask him if he if he knows,
If they get
does any
stressed, will
studies
they go
about
ahead
it?
and do it, or are they done? Yeah, I mean, I've always wondered that because about any kind of, whether it's a woman, a deer, anything, if you get them stressed out, they miscarried. Does a fish do the same thing?
But if you throw a female full of eggs in your live well, you don't see eggs in your live well.
Right, but does them eggs turn to goo and she just gets rid of goo, or does she get, you know what I mean? Because some of them eggs will dissolve out on fish, and the are them eggs no longer good because when they come down here to Bull Shoals and spawn the walleye out, the conservation, they won't stir them with a spoon or nothing when they milk them and egg them and all that. And when they mix them up, they stir them with a turkey feather because it's soft and they don't want to stress the eggs and damage them. So, have as fishermen, if we catch that 6-pounder off a bed, we throw her in her live well, and we run from Kimberling City back up to Cricket Creek or something with a tournament come out of. How much stress does that fish got on her? We got her in there for 8 hours and we've hauled her all around the lake.
That's a good point. So if I'm on the other side, well, how would you fix it then? Just not, you can't fish when you know they're on beds. You can't fish 2 weeks, like kind of like duck season has. October you can fish, or October you can hunt. Well, then they got to separate it, or maybe it's November. You can hunt so many, like a month, and then they got a 2-week, cool off period, and then you come back.
Well, if you go to some of the southern lakes, you watch Bassmasters and stuff. I don't know. Yes, I know they got a slot limit, stuff like that. But a lot of them fish they can't haul in unless they're over, the share lunker program deal. Is that because of the time of year we're there, or is that just because of the slot?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I don't know.
Never thought about that.
Huh. That's all things we need to ask that conservation guy.
That's something we could look into at Texas and Florida and places where you can't bring those fish back. They're catch and release. What is it? Is it Lake Fork and Rayburn that Bassmasters go to that they have an official in there to weigh their fish? We don't have an actual.
Yeah, I think so.
Actual weigh-in. We do it right there on the boat. And what is the reasoning behind that? Because Lake Fork, you can go down there right now or December, whenever, and keep fish. But is that just because those fish are in the slaughter? Or is that because it's spawn time?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought there. I've never thought about that, honestly.
Because that would be a way for us to do that. Yes, you'd have to have official in your boat, but I know that's more manpower and stuff. But if that raises the quality and the quantity of our fish, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
But you said it's only for a certain amount of time, like a couple weeks or 2-3 weeks.
Well, like I say, I don't know if that's the reason in Texas and down in there or not. But if it is, we could go, the first week of April to the last week of April or whatever, not necessarily April, but I'm just using it for instance. But when our spawn, what are we? We'd be in roughly the post spawn now. So we say the second week April, the second week of May. They do that on our streams here. You can't fish stream after 6 o'clock in the evening, like Swan Creek, Beaver Creek, stuff like that, all the way up until Memorial Day because fish are spawning. So your bass, you can't even keep a bass and stuff in the creek until after Memorial Day.
That's on Bull Shoals?
That's in a lot of your streams in Missouri.
Just your streams, gotcha.
Yeah, like Swan Creek. But here's the deal with Swan Creek.
Yeah.
That's from 160 bridge up. Well, the 160 bridge is what? 50 yards into the mouth of Swan? 75?
Yep.
And it's from 160 up at Beaver Creek. So, yeah, you can go quite a ways up Beaver. But that's because you got everything up there spawning as part of it. So, we do it for our streams, but we only hit the major creek arms, like Swan and Beaver. But then you've got Buck Creek, you've got Shoal Creek, you've got, you start naming them all off as you go down the lake. It's a weird, it's kind of a, I don't know. It's a deal that a guy'd have to dig into more for Texas and Florida and down in there and see if it's just because of the slot or if it's because of the time of the year those guys are there. Yes, I know they got they've got a different string of bass, and I know their spawns earlier and stuff like that, but still, man, those guys grow some giants.
Yeah, they definitely know how to down there. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad we got Josh on to ask some tough questions.
The tough questions that we
tough.
don't have the answers to.
Yeah,
but we'll figure it out.
Well, I've never asked that, but
Yeah.
how much time? What time?
Yeah,
we
we're at 50.
50. I'll ask one or two more questions, and then we'll kind of tone it down a little bit. But just advice you'd give if somebody's coming to you tomorrow, they've never fished. Man, I don't know what to bring. Like, is there any advice you'd give somebody brand new? Just hired Josh as a guide service.
Man, I run all my trips as making memories one trip at a time. The first thing to remember when you hire a guide, yes, we're out there every single day, but I cannot express it enough to people. Fishing is fishing no matter how good you are. There's days they do not bite. And bring you some snacks and come jump on the boat. I've got everything else. Bring your fishing license and let's go make it happen. We're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. We're going to cut up. But let's don't take fishing so serious that we forget what it's all about. And that's making memories, whether you bring your kids, your grandparents, your dad, whoever. I lost my dad 5 years ago, guys, and if I could go back right now and have that one more fishing trip, it'd be a dream come true.
That's
If you
pretty cool.
come down, make the memories. Catching fish is a bonus no matter who you are. They call it fishing because it's fishing, not catching. Yes, knock on wood, I've never had a 0 day. But as far as on a guide trip, I've never had a 0 day. But I'm not going to guarantee you 1,000 fish when you show up. We're going to catch a fish. Sometimes it may not be exactly what you want, but your line's going to get stretched and we're going to have a good time. So I can't express it enough to bring yourself and get ready for an enjoyable day. And don't let the fishing stress you out. That's the guide's job, is let it stress him out. Come down, enjoy your vacation, and let's go see what happens. I mean, it's fishing. I've had people come on there and thought, we catch 40, 50 fish in a 4-hour guide trip, and they think, man, we should have caught more than that. We hired a guide. Guys, 40, 50 fish in a 4-hour period is a pretty good period.
Yeah, that's a heck.
You know, there's days. I had one just the other day. We had 9 keepers, I believe, 9 keeper crappie and a walleye. We caught probably 50, 60 fish, but we could not get on the big fish. And toward the end, I don't set a stopwatch on my guide trips. I say 4 hours is what I sell. If we're all having a good time, we're catching fish, and I don't have another trip right after, we're going to keep fishing. I don't set the stopwatch and be like, oh, you're 4 hours done, let's go. No, that ain't how it is. We go fishing. I've been there. I've got some guys tomorrow that's been with me a dozen times, and I guarantee I'm not done before 4 o'clock tomorrow. Them 2 old guys want to fish all day long, and that's what we'll do. I'm there to make memories, and catching fish is a bonus.
So where's the best way they can find you? You got social media?
Yeah, guys, so go on Facebook, look up Branson's Full Throttle Fishing Adventures, or give me a call at 417-251-0433. I've got a few dates open coming up in June. I've got a little bit of time in July. Guys, I stay booked up solid. If you want on the books, give me a call. Let's get going. If you've got youth tournaments coming up, you want me to go down and show you a little bit about Bull Shoals, Table Rock, whatever, don't forget, when them high school tournaments come around, holler at me. I'll give you guys a discount if you're with the National Youth Fishing Association. We'll go out and I'll show you a few patterns for Bull Shoals and Table Rock. I'm not saying anything. My son, he's been right there at the top a long, long time, and he had a couple college offers that were really good. And by the time you pay some stuff for it, it's just, to be honest, it's out of a poor man's budget. But we enjoy what we do, and man, I don't know. I should have done it a long time ago. I should have went full.
Mm-hmm. Are you there?
Yep, it went to that 3-2-1, but yeah, but it's a passion of mine. I love it. I should have done it a long time ago. And guys, go check it out. I'm in magazines. I'm all over the place. I mean, news articles. I've got Angler's Choice Awards for #1 charter service. I've got all kinds of stuff. Go check us out. We're going to have a good time. It's not all about catching fish. Sometimes it's about making memory with that person that's not always going to be there.
Cool.
Well, cool, man.
Good information, Josh.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll post this out and Go check him out.
All right. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate you.
Thank you very
Come
much.
back. You bet, guys. Come back a little bit later in summer, and we'll talk about some summer patterns on some bass on Table Rock because I'm fixing to start swinging at them.
Okay.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
You guys
See you, man.
holler. Have a good evening.
See ya.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye.